In the belly of the tomb, the stillness finally broke. Arnagar had moved ahead of the group only a few paces, proceeding into a chamber when there came a blinding flash and a boom that shook the ground. He dropped flat on his belly, and something whooshed by, cutting through the air just above him. His vision returned, and the chamber faded back into view. All was cold marble and flanged architecture, utterly alien compared to the dross crypts of the prior sections. The entryway he had just come through was now sealed with a block, and upon its face burned an angry glyph. Arnagar cursed under his breath. He lifted himself to his feet. Something was coming. Clattering and clinking it sounded from up ahead, the din of some fell horde approaching. It was enough to make the hairs on his neck stand up. Bristles followed, protruding from his shoulders and spreading rapidly. The words of the old chieftain resounded in his mind. "By Molstramar, I tell you, a warrior without a warband is doomed." And you perished with a warband. All the same. Arnagar hefted his war club. Bristles sprouted along the arm, porcine quills thrusting out over swelling muscles. "I am chieftain now. I proved my claim then, and I'll prove it again." The racket grew louder, closer. From a deep groove in the wall emerged a pair of deathly figures. They were skeletal things clad in shirts of mail and carrying spears. Another pair followed, then more and more. The troop of dead men trained their spear points toward the intruder and drove ahead. Tusks sprouted from Arnagar's lower jaw. "You should have remained in the underworld!" He shouted at the skeletal phalanx. He sprang forward to meet the foes. Charge met charge. Spears turned aside at the bulwark of the wereboar's shield, and he crashed into the restless dead. Tusks rived through bone and cast splinters aside. A spear jabbed him. His defiant hide weathered the attack. Anything less than silver or magic would struggle to find purchase. "Molstramar cleave you!" Arnagar bashed in the skull of a skeleton and drove another hard to the ground with his scything teeth. Vigor rushed through him, a dire fury that blazed from his bestial heart. The gaunt soldiers stabbed at him, their spears reduced to middling sticks. He threw back a duo of tines. Arnagar heaved himself at them. The stone of his war club broke bones under mail and shattered haggard fingers. He crushed a swath of the jittering bodies, and when the remaining few made to close in around him, he dug his hooves into the floor and bulled into the nearest skeleton. With his tusks hooked in its ribs, he rammed the thing backward and dashed it against the opposite wall of the room. Staunch as a lone seamount he stood. The waves had broken upon him and fallen to a scattered wreck. A smattering of scratches across his hide gave the only indication of his foe's assault. "Bee stings!" Arnagar scowled at the two remaining crypt soldiers. "The bites of flies!" A thudding came from the aperture in the wall. Heavy footfalls. The gaunt ones staggered away to give a wide berth. A skeletal monstrosity emerged from the cleft. It was hulking, a bull-headed Minotaur with vacant eye sockets looming ominous above Arnagar. It wielded a maul in both hands, though in regarding the intruder and the riot of bones strewn about the chamber, it lowered its mighty horns and charged. The brutal spikes broke through Arnagar's shield defense and gored him. Pain erupted through the wereboar's shoulder, and he fought to keep the behemoth from throwing him to the ground. He countered with his tusks, raking again and again upon the hollow Minotaur who had entered the intimate space of the dance of battle. Chips of bone showered Arnagar's face. The foe, soundless, dead to feeling, hoisted its outsized hammer. It gave a swing, made awkward by the grinding lycanthrope. The maul struck a vertical buttress, punching a spiderweb of cracks into the marble. The two enemies tangled there, grappling and swiping in effort to destroy the other. Arnagar's breath sawed ragged. He steamed in the hoary air of the tomb. Blood seeped into his tunic from the shoulder wound. His club pounded upon the Minotaur's thigh, upon its desiccated forearm. The thing swept its maul, smacking the side of his head. His vision reeled, but he roared back from the brink of unconsciousness, ferocious to defy death, relentless to the last drop. Tusks slashed, quick under the Hulk's arms and into its rib cage. An old stench lingered in that cavity. Arnagar twisted with the strength of his whole self. The Minotaur toppled over, with bits of rib bone popping free upon the interlocking boar teeth. It made to stand, and Arnagar thrashed the thing. Blood pooled at the corner of his mouth where bony splinters had dug in. He leapt frontward and brought down his war club. The weapon stove in the face of the abomination. Its head was reduced to chunks of jagged white. The monstrosity twitched, but did not rise. The two lingering bone soldiers closed in. They thrust their spears at the exhausted and bloody lycanthrope. He blocked one and swung his burning arm, smiting it. The other stabbed into his side. Pain mounted upon pain. With a backhanded blow, he cracked through the foe's segmented neck. It collapsed, and Arnagar followed. He slumped to the floor beside the cadavers. A full moon glowed high above a snow-covered glen. It beamed its silvery light upon tranquility and terror alike. Cold light, colder still upon the snowdrifts. This was a place of beginnings and a place of returning after the last battle's end. And now, a spirit's journey or only a dream?